They're in our diet sodas, used in our coffee, and a part of a viral TikTok trend, artificial sweeteners. Marketed as zero sugar or zero calorie, products with artificial sweeteners appeal to consumers trying to cut out calories in their diet, all without having to sacrifice one sweet tooth. From 2022 to 2027, the artificial sweetener market size is expected to grow by $2 billion, according to market research company Technavio. But just how healthy are these sugar alternatives? It's a subject that Dr. Marian Nessel, a molecular biologist and nutritionist at NYU, has spent years studying.
There are chemical studies that show that artificial sweeteners may not be good for us, but they've been consumed by millions of people for many, many years.
Diet Pepsi did.
We'll dive a little deeper into the health effects later in the video. But first, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below to share your thoughts on artificial sweeteners and to see more content like this. So, when did consumers begin looking for a sweet swap? The artificial sweetener craze dates all the way back to the 19th century. In 1879, a researcher at Johns Hopkins University was working with derivatives of coal tar. After a hard day's work, he forgot to wash his hands before eating dinner. What he tasted on his hand was surprisingly sweet, and the next day, he tried every sample to nail down the source. Once he did, it came to be known as saccharin. It then became more commonly known as sweet and low sugar. Years later, other alternatives followed. In 1965, a research scientist developing an ulcer drug discovered aspartame when he tasted something sweet on his fingers too. Today, you can find aspartame in equal sugar. A decade later, in 1976, scientists bonded sucrose molecules with chlorine, and this resulted in another sweet taste, sucralose, which we know today as Splenda. Sucralose can be found in diet sodas and flavored beverage syrups. One of those syrup products is called skinny mixes.
My mother and I were always very cautious of what we were eating, what we were drinking, the sugar you're putting in your body. I remember being observant about what we saw on grocery store shelves and always asking the questions of why this doesn't exist. Always being on a diet and trying to find different ways to save calories and save sugar.
It wasn't until a night out with friends that Jordan realized that her cravings could become a business idea.
I was working as a real estate appraiser and I had a light bulb moment. That particular day, I was having a hankering for a margarita. I was going to meet some girlfriends, and all of a sudden it occurred to me that I couldn't have a margarita and have dinner, and they have so many calories, and so that's where the idea came from.
And Jordan's instincts were right. In April 2023, skinny mixes exploded on TikTok with a community called WaterTok. The trend features creators sharing their favorite recipes, which include various skinny mix syrups and flavoring packets that racked up millions of views on the platform. Creators say adding flavor helps them drink more water throughout the day, all while limiting the amount of calories that they actually take in. One of the creators behind the viral trend is Tanya Spanglow, who is 46 years old with 1.3 million followers on TikTok.
Whenever I had weight loss surgery, I adapted a low-carb, high-protein lifestyle. And so I needed to cut back on my sugar. And so I found skinny mixes at a TJ Maxx, and I started putting those in my coffee. And it was a total game changer because my coffee still tasted sweet, but I didn't have all the sugars in it. So I just kept making them and kept drinking them, and every day, met with my doctors, they approved it, met with my nutritionist, my dietitian, my surgeon, they were like, yeah, whatever you can do to meet your water goal, it's working for you, you're losing weight, so keep doing it.
Tanya points to another reason that Jordan started skinny mixes, and that's to give another alternative to those who can't take in sugar.
From anybody with diabetes to people that just want to lose weight or don't want the unhealthy nature of having all that sugar, just being able to have fun and customize flavors and be able to have your morning latte to your afternoon cocktail, not have any calories or very few, is obviously appealing to people. I think that's what it means to people, and they're so excited about it.
So, 0 calories, just like water, but with more flavor, sounds like a no-brainer, right? Well, Dr. Nessel doesn't think so.
Artificial sweeteners are not something we evolved to eat. They're chemicals that are either indigestible or digested in ways that are complicated, and there's a lot that's not known about them.
In May 2023, the World Health Organization issued a warning against artificial sweeteners. The organization says that, in the long term, these substitutes are not effective at controlling body weight and instead could pose health risks.
The research on them over years now shows that people who consume artificially sweetened drinks or artificially sweetened foods do not necessarily lose weight, and there is very little correlation between consumption of artificial sweeteners and weight loss. If you take in more calories than you're expending, you're going to gain weight. So the idea of artificial sweeteners is to help you reduce the number of calories that you're eating without affecting the pleasure that you're taking in food. Food is one of life's greatest pleasures. If you're the kind of person who can take in fewer calories because you're eating artificially sweetened drinks or foods and not make up the calories in some other way, then these will be very helpful to you. But to most people, they're not. And that's really the problem, is that we live in a food environment that encourages us to eat more of the highly caloric foods.
And for the average person just seeking healthier alternatives, Dr. Nessel says it's just marketing.
Food marketers know exactly what people understand and what they don't, and market their foods exactly, because the purpose of food marketing is not public health and it's not social service, it's to sell products.
So what can people use to substitute sugar? Well, natural sweeteners like monk fruit have risen in popularity in recent years and got a stamp of approval from the FDA. Skinny Mixes even uses it in select products. But Dr. Nessel's recommendation may shock you.
Sugar. We know how sugar is metabolized, and the World Health Organization's recommendations on sugar allow for about 50 grams a day, which is 12 teaspoons. It's not exactly abstemious. It's just that Americans have gotten used to having sugar in absolutely everything we eat, and most Americans consume twice that amount.
But if you can't consume sugar, Nessel says to consume alternatives like sucralose and aspartame in moderation. And like sugar and spice, what you eat or drink should also be nice.